श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। We will chant the verses we have studied so far together. ॐ अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः यं सन्न्यासमिति प्राहुः योगं तं विद्धि पाण्डव न ह्यसन्न्यस्तसङ्कल्पः योगी भवति कश्चन आरुरुक्षो मुनेर्योगं कर्म कारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणमुच्यते यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वकं कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते. That will come. Yeah. So, this much we have done. When did we do this much? In the last Janma. And so little bit of revision just to bring us up to par so that we can go comfortably further. And so we were introduced in the 6th chapter to a life of quietude that follows Shravanam. Otherwise, if you have a life, continue to have an active life following Shravanam, the Shravana Phala in the form of the assimilation of knowledge cannot take place. So the life of Shravanam is then followed by what? A life of quietude. Until that quietude comes, what did we study? We studied that one is yoga arurukshuhu. Two kinds of people or two kinds of lifestyles, and people following the lifestyles also have been talked about. One is yoga arurukshuhu. Yoga here is meditation, dhyana yoga. The life of quietude, a contemplative life, but first a meditative life, that is what gives way to what? A contemplative life. Without a meditative life, you cannot have a contemplative life. What is the difference between meditative life and contemplative life? Meditation, the object for which is what? Sagunam Brahma Ishvara. Contemplation is the understanding of myself as non-separate from Ishvara. It is not to be meditated upon. If you sit and say Soham, 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 what will happen? Nothing will happen. It's not a mantra to be chanted for favors from Bhagavan. In fact, if you say, I am you, I am you, I am you, Bhagavan will go away and say, okay, this person knows I don't have anything to do with this person. No. So here, this whole, the change from not even relying on Bhagavan, this is where the text is going to go, very beautiful chapter. Not even relying on Bhagavan, it is a lifestyle of solitude where one relies only on oneself. And then for that big change, before what do? We rely on a whole host of factors, starting from what? The stars. Consult the astrologer. Please see my hand. What will come? Tell me, Will I get a certificate after this 3-month course? Please tell me. All these things. So from seeking help from everybody, morally, mentally, emotionally, of course physically and financially, one is just between oneself and the sky. To get to that place, there's a big growth. Big growth spurt needs to take place, and to make that easier for us, Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita divides very nicely two kinds of lifestyles and two kinds of people following these two kinds of lifestyles. Arurukshuhu yogam yogaha arudham ichuhu, the one who is desirous of leading a contemplative life. That is, I have the desire, but I still need hundreds of things to prop me up during the course of the day. That is one kind of a person. For that person, what is advised? Karma yoga, we saw that. That is what is arurukshoho munehe. That person is also a sage. That person is also yatnashilaha. That person is also wanting to be contemplative, but still what? Karma yogi. Because karma yoga does not have expiry date, does not have starting date, cannot make a mistake. It's never too late for karma yoga. If anybody tells you you are too late for karma yoga, do not believe them, because one is never ever too late for karma yoga. Too late for marriage, yes, but never too late for karma yoga. And how long can you do karma yoga? As long as it does not fulfill its purpose. You keep doing karma yoga until it fulfills its purpose. As long as it does not fulfill the purpose, you keep doing it. That means what? Raga dveshas are there, and they are the impediments to Atma Jnanam. We do ourselves a great disservice again and again, and so therefore we need this. Karma yoga is a very important prop. And what is this prop called Karma Yoga? The prop called Karma Yoga is indeed proper because it helps us to not be so focused on Raga Dveshas by taking away the focus on the result of action. So I do the action for what sake? Only one result. What is the one result I want? Self-growth. That is the only result. Emotional maturity to live a propless life. This is yoga arurukshuhu, arudham ichchuhu. And then what is the other one? Yoga rudhaha, the one who has already climbed. Means there is a sense of an ascent, meaning there is a evolution. Ascent means not that the person has climbed up on the roof. No, it is a figurative ascent. An ascent from not drowning in samsara, lifting oneself and then coming here to this place of leading a quiet life. So for that person, the appropriate lifestyle is what? Sannyasa. Shamaha is sannyasa. Shamaha is not shamadama here. We already talked about this at length. Shamaha is here sannyasa. So, does that mean that a grihastha cannot be a yoga rudha? No. Because that's the fourth verse says that very clearly that when the person is not interested in the sankalpa behind the desire, even the sankalpa at the level of baby desire, at the level of a baby fancy, the person is what? Willing to drop everything. So even if you are a yoga, even if you are a grihastha, you can still be what? Yoga rudha. Difficult, but you can. But then why is it difficult? Because certain lifestyles are more conducive to attainment of certain spiritual prowesses. And a lifestyle of quietude and not depending upon others is very difficult to get in grihasthashrama. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but like for example, we have certain, what are they called? Yantras. Tools are there, like you have a knife. And then knife is used for vegetable fruit cutting. And then you have a what? Screwdriver for tightening the screw. But many of us don't have screwdrivers, correct? So what do? We have knife, we use the knife and make do with tightening this. In 2 days it will become loose again, but doesn't matter, the knife we use. Can you tighten the screw with a knife? Yes, because we have done that and we will continue to do that. But is this the most ideal tool for tightening the screw? No. Can you then, we have to ask the opposite question. Can you cut an apple with a screwdriver? Yeah, not really, but if you are really forced, let's say you are in the wilderness and they have these new TV shows, how to survive in the wild, just come to an ashram in Uttarakashi and all, then you don't have to worry about all these things. Lead a sadhu's life, then all these thrills for shows of wilderness will go. So then in this exactly. So this wilderness, what does it say? It says you have to have they'll give you just one tool, and with that you have to light the fire, with that you have to chop the fruit and the vegetables, with that you have to, that is also your spoon for eating, with that you have to, dig the roots that you are going to eat, with that you have to harvest the fruits and vegetables. So like this, with the screwdriver, can you cut an apple? Sure. I mean, if I had to, I could. But is it the most appropriate tool for cutting a fruit? No. So similarly here, the lifestyle of sannyasa is most conducive for leading a contemplative life according to Lord Krishna. According to, of course, Adi Shankara is very thrilled with this chapter, because Adi Shankara and sannyasa, he just hugs sannyasa, and at every corner, at every situation, he says, just leave this and take sannyasa. What are you doing? And so he is very happy with this chapter, and so therefore these two lifestyles and that followers of the two lifestyles are given, but they are not mutually exclusive, because a grihastha can, theoretically speaking, can indeed become what? Yogarudha, can become a contemplative person without needing to become the sannyasi. Why? Because the inner disposition has been cultivated, but then at the cost of a lot of difficulty. Whereas in the sannyasi life, so why is the sannyasa lifestyle much more conducive to yogarudhata or yogarudhatvam? Because there are no roles to fulfill. No roles means no duties, no obligations. Duties are not there, obligations are not there, and then some kind of a give and take is not there. So all this is not there, and so therefore it is much more conducive to this particular kind of a lifestyle. So now we had where were we? 349? No, 339. Yeah. So we were in the middle of this bhashya, I think, right? Correct? Yeah. So just to summarize till this thing. So yada na indriyartheshu na karmasu anushajjate. So when the person has mastery over the sense organs and then does not cling to what? To either the sense objects, because of the mastery of the sense organs, does not cling to indriyartha, sense objects, or karma. So last time I had misread it as anushajyate, but it is shajjate. The print sometimes is not clear. I thought it was a year. So it's not passive, it is active voice only. So shang, to cling. So anushanga, clinging, and anusajjate. So there also there is a lot of grammar involved. The shakara becomes sakara and then back to shakara. All this happens. We don't have the time to go into all those details. So then when does one become a yogarudha? Doesn't matter if you're a karma yogi or if you're a sannyasi, when you have no truck with either the precursor of action or the action. In the last classes we have been seeing what is the precursor of action? Kama. Kama is the precursor of action, and then karma follows kama. So first sankalpa, and then kama, and then karma. And then of course karma phala, punarjanma, samsara, that thing goes round and round. So we already saw this, and then sarva sankalpa sannyasi. The person is as good as a sannyasi. Why? Because every sankalpa that comes is thrown away. That yogi is throws away everything. Everything is thrown away. Why? Prayojana abhava buddhya. Buddhi here is not buddhi. Buddhi means the knowledge, the understanding, the cognition. What is the cognition? There is no use for this. I have no use for this. In fact, this can become our mantra. Look at all the items, and then especially before as a desire is forming, just keep saying to yourself, I have no use for this. I have no use for this. I have no use for this. And then you see how easy it is to clean your room. Yeah, yes, to throw everything. Yeah, I have no use for this. This is prayojana abhava, because you see the whole life cycle of that thing. Something looks very nice, and thing includes person. That person looks very nice. Everybody looks very nice from far away. Yeah. And then, the closer you get to them, then you say, oh, but they can help me with this, they can help me with that. Oh, and here in the ashram circles, there's a great demand for people who know Sanskrit. Yeah, so, oh, this person knows very good Sanskrit. I want this person, I want this. This person has good grammar, this person has good something else. They are good in this, they are good in that, something or the other. But then, you see the whole thing. You see the whole life cycle of that object, and then you see what is it that you have use for. Why? Because the growth is from learning Vedanta to living Vedanta. That is the changeover. The change, it's not theory and practice. I don't want you to go there because that's a useless discussion. There is no theory practice. You are being told who you are, and there is a lag in catching up. Like some olden times trunk call and phone calls they used to have. Hello? 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 Because you're not hearing anything. You don't know if they have heard. And then afterwards, hello, that other person is saying. Okay. Then that person says, can you hear me? By the time you have said 50 hellos, all right? Yeah. And then that person says what? Yeah, I can hear you. And by the time you say, I can hear you, that person has said, what's happening over there? What's going on? And then by the time all that comes, some other big lag is there. It's a very funny conversation, but every person is like that. So Vedanta comes to you and says what? Hello, Tattvamasi. Yeah. It doesn't say, how are you? It says, who are you? It tells. Tattvamasi. Hello, Vedanta comes and says, Tattvamasi, you are Brahman, you are Ishvara, you are Bhagavan. And then what are you? Hard of hearing, because the ear wax, that's the term. There is some kind of a protective coating in the ears so that they don't get damaged. And sometimes they grow too much, and then this protective coating is in the form of raga dveshas, defenses, offenses. So you don't hear immediately, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, what? Can you hear? What? And so this lag is what we are talking about. It's not theory and practice. It's the lag in converting the listening into living. From listening to living, there's a huge gap. And that gap, it's just $1 million gap. Yeah. And it has driven even sages mad. Like even, what was his name? Yes, exactly. Vishwamitra. He also wanted to become a sage. Why? He wanted to have the wish-fulfilling cow that can only be commanded by a desireless person. That's why he wanted to become a desireless person, so that he can have this desire fulfilled. A little backwards, but yeah. And his tapas, because he was full of rajas, and rajasic people can make great tapasvis. Yeah, because they have that grit, they won't leave it. Sattvic people, they are good, but then if you put them in tapas, too hot, another day. Yeah, they will get vairagya from tapas also. But rajasic people are great tapasvins, and this person's tapas made Indra put on his AC, because Indra started to feel hot. And Indra said, not only Indra started to feel hot, his seat also started to feel hot. Meaning what? Somebody is coming for my kursi, somebody is coming for my chair. So he looked under his contacts. Yeah. Menaka, okay. She had just recently called, I suppose. Right there she was there. Yeah. Go distract him, make him stop, because I am insecure about my chair. So you see, this kind of the living, getting to this place of desirelessness at the level of sankalpa, which is essential for converting the learning into living, is not an easy task. Not at all an easy task. And so we saw that regardless of the person, whether the person is a sannyasi or a karma yogi, if the person is a Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, is able to let go of everything as it arises in the mind, that person is said to be living this life. And then so Adi Shankara defines for us what is Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Sarvan Sankalpan Iha Mutrartha Kamahetun Sanyasitum Sheelam Asya Asti. Not Asti, Sheelam Asya Iti. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Yeah. So Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, very beautiful definition. Sarvan Sankalpan. Sarvan means what? All. Let us not forget. All fancies. Can I keep a few fancies for myself and 90% I will give up, 10% I will keep. They're just fancies. I don't even need to tell anybody what they are. Secretly I can just think of them and enjoy them. What is your problem with that? Then we can't say that there is a problem with that, because the problem comes even before you can see the truth. Even before you can see what is happening, the problem has taken over sneakily. So therefore, the Sankalpa, and later on this chapter is only going to say, Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman Tyaktva Sarvan Asheshataha. The same thing is going to be reiterated a little later. So so these kamas have a bija form, which is what? Sankalpa. Seed form of kama is sankalpa. So Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi is not a particular kind of sannyasi, but is the one who is successfully able to what? Able to Sarvan Sankalpan, all fancies. And what do the all fancies include? Adi Shankara says, Iha means concerning Iha. Iha means this world of seen and unseen objects. Even for unseen objects you can have a sankalpa. You can have a fancy even for unseen objects. New restaurant has opened up in Rishikesh. Oh, right, around the time of the weekend. Wonderful. Have you seen this restaurant? No. But the desire for that has already born, has already birthed itself even before you have seen it. So, Iha and Amutra. Amutra also means elsewhere. So, unseen fancies, seen fancies, known fancies, unknown fancies, heard fancies, unheard fancies, experienced fancies, unexperienced fancies. In the here and the hereafter, all of them has to be included. Sometimes we use the word all very loosely. We say, all the people came to satsang. Did all come? No. Few were missing. But then what do we say? All came. All right. So therefore, we use the word all loosely. Not Adi Shankara, not before him, not Bhagavan Krishna either. So, Sarva means Sarva. All means Asheshataha. Later on we will say, without leaving any baki, without leaving any leftover. Therefore, Iha Mutra Kama Hetun. So that which becomes the cause of Kama. That which is the sankalpa is the cause of kama. So that which is in the form of unseen, unheard, seen, heard, unexperienced, inexperienced objects of fancies or fanciful ideas, fanciful notions, fanciful objects to be experienced here or hereafter, amutra, elsewhere in some other loka. Why do you say hereafter? Because you can't go to another loka right now. We don't have that capacity. Only Narada has that capacity. Triloka Gami. But we don't have that capacity, so it has to happen only after the dropping of this body. Then you take on Gandharva body and go to Gandharva Loka and sing exotic ragas. If that is the fancy, you have to go there. If you want to have a blessing presence and keep blessing all the people who come after, you go to Pitraloka and sit there. That's another fancy. So all these fancies which include here and hereafter. Amutra means elsewhere. So which are what? The Bija Bhutan, which are in the form of Bija. Kama Hetun means Bija Bhutan. So they are in the form of Bija. So the one who has Sanyasitum, in order to give up, Sheelam, capacity, may not have given up, but the capacity to give up is what? There. The latent capacity to give up is there. May not have been able to give up. So, Sanyasitum Sheelam Asya Asti. That person has that capacity. Then such a person is called Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, because the word Sannyasi, Sannyasin, the pratyaya is Nini. Tachilye Nini is the definition of Nini. Nini is a pratyaya which is, which comes under the category of those possessive pratyayas like Van, Bhagavan, and then what else? Balavan, Dhanavan. Yeah. So this is all comes under this whole this Matupartha, and then Ini, Nini is one more in that area. And here the Sheela is there. The Sheela here means not only the capacity, but the conduct, the quality of that quality is there. That inherent quality is there. The inherent capacity is there. That is when the word Nini is, the pratyaya Nini is used. That the person's behavior is in keeping with what is being said here. Sanyasitum Sheelam Asti. So the conduct is in keeping with the word. And so therefore, what is that? Sanyasitum Sheelam Asti. So that person is called Yoga Rudha. And Adi Shankara does not want us to think which mountain has this yogi climbed. So immediately changes it into what? Prapta Yogaha iti etat. Prapta Yogaha means what? The one who has gained the ability to live this life of knowledge. The knowledge that is lived, the knowledge that is actually not just learned, not learned knowledge, but the knowledge that Shravanam has changed into what? Nitidhyasanam. And even if it may not be lived 100%, the commitment to live it for 100% is there. So therefore the person has taken into a life of quietude, Nitidhyasana. And then tasmin kale iti uchyate, because that tada means at that point. Actually there is a mistake here. It should be tada and not tatha. Correct that. So it is tada, tasmin ka. It is tada or tatha there? Tatha. Okay. Huh? The. Yeah, that's what. So then if there is a mistake, correct it, because I don't have what text you all are following. So tasmin kale means when that happens, yoga rudha tada uchyate. Tada means tasmin kale, not tatha. Tada tasmin kale. So tasmin kale, at that time. Tada here means at that time it is said. And then Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi iti vachanat sarvancha kaman sarvani cha karmani sanyased iti artha. Yeah, he doesn't mince any words. Very clear. What does Adi Shankara says? Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi doesn't mean he or she has a few irons in the fire. What does that mean? It's an expression. Few pots on the fire. and in one khichdi is cooking, in another something else is cooking. No, all the pots are off. There is nothing to look after. There is no stirring. There is nothing going on in that person's life. Absolutely nothing going on in this person's life, because all the desire for these, especially those three main desires. What are they? Putraishana, not a putreshana, no, putraishana, putraishana, vittaishana, then lokaishana. So these three include everything. What is putraishana? Eshana for following, having a following. Even pets come under putraishana. All kinds of things. Something that should need me later on. Something small and furry is waiting for me to be fed. How cute, how nice, something to come home to. This is incompatible with the kind of lifestyle that one is asked to grow into. And what to talk of having a actual child, etc. And then that also is seen as a ticket to what? Old age. This is my ticket so that I don't have to go into old age home. This is my ticket to being looked after. And frequently people think this in a lot of cultures. In a lot of cultures, people think that, if I have a child, then it will look after me in my old age. But that frequently doesn't happen. And then disappointment comes because people don't behave like we want them to. Oh, so why didn't the child take care of the parent? Because the child became a sannyasi after growing up. That's why. So therefore not available. And so then putraishana, then vittaishana, can't bank on money also, because money is constantly downfalling. That's why it's called inflation. Everything is rising, the cost of the living is rising, and the value of money is concomitantly falling. So there goes banking on money. And then what is money you need? But you cannot have Shobhana Adhyasa upon money. Shobhana Adhyasa means a kind of a value added, starry-eyed, rose-colored, view of money. This is the ticket to my old age. This is my security. Can't have that, because cannot bank on that. And then what else? Oh, maybe I'll go to Swarga, because here I have messed everything up. Karma phala is catching me. Maybe I have enough karma to go to Swarga. Swarga also, one cup of tea they will give. And then what else? One free selfie with Indra in Indraloka. Click, click. And then what? Yeah. One trap door will open and then gone. Gaya. Kshine loke martya lokam dhadamiti vishanti. Yeah, emphasis added. These later chapters will tell us this. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Having enjoyed this vast recesses of the other worlds like Swarga, etc., heaven and various forms of heaven, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Bhuhu is this of course, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, etc., then the currency with which one has gone is depleted, spent. Each time you go to an Urvashi concert, you are paying money. It's not money, it is in the form of traveler checks. What is the traveler checks? Punya traveler checks. Yeah. You are paying to see the concert, and then after that, Chitragupta is right there. He is the karma accountant. And he says, okay, how many concerts? Okay, it's all, it's like in the college dormitory, hostels and all. You don't pay each time you go into the dining hall. They just clip something. Yeah. You have eaten this many meals. Yeah, they just clip or they mark on something. Here also you are being marked. And when the punya, when all your dana, dharma, everything that you have given comes to an end, one trap door opens. This is what the Shastra says. And then what? Then you're crying, newborn baby crying somewhere. That's why the baby cries. Who took me out of the concert? What am I doing here? So this is the thing. So therefore, sarva sankalpa sannyasi iti vachanat. By this term, sarva sankalpa sannyasi, sarvancha kaman, sarvani cha karmani sanyaset. All karmas must be given up and all karma must be given up. No shesha. No shesha means what? No remnant. No residues. You can't keep a little for a rainy day, little sankalpa. Otherwise my life will be very boring. Without a fancy, how will I live? It's just, you will see when you get to appreciating this life, it will become very, very clear how free the mind is. How free the mind becomes when you don't have to keep on harboring, watering and nurturing all these ragadveshas and all these fancies. The mind becomes extremely free. Amazing it is. And so therefore, so then Adi Shankara gives something from the Manusmriti and also from the Mahabharata. The famous place of quotation of all Mahabharata quotes is what? Shanti Parva. Parva here means chapter. Shanti Parva has all the Vedanta material. All the mal for us is there in Shanti Parva. It has been milked out of existence by Adi Shankara himself. So, Sankalpa Mulahi Sarve Kamaha. So, Sankalpa Mulaha Sarve Kamaha. So, all the kamas, all the desires have their root in what? Sankalpa. Sankalpa means what? Fancy. Yes, fancy. It's not yet a kama, it's a kama wannabe. It's a wannabe kama. It is about to become a kama. That's what is called sankalpa. Don't go with puja sankalpa. Mamopata, sarva, durita, kshayartham. No, don't go there. That's not the sankalpa here, intentionality. Here the intentionality has been to be converted into fancy. The slightest fancy, at the level of fancy, less harmful, it has to be thrown away. And so here he quotes the Manusmriti, Sankalpa Mula Kamo Vai Yajna Sankalpa Sambhavaha Kamam Janami Te Moolam Sankalpatvam hi jayase Natvam sankalpayishyami Tena mena bhavishyasi. Beautiful. In fact, chanting them together is appropriate even though they are from two different places, because they flow very well together thanks to Adi Shankara's cleverness in putting them in the same place. So, what is the first one say? Sankalpa Mulaha Kamaha Vai. Vai means indeed. Indeed, the root of all kama is the fancy. So, what is this kama? Manogatan kaman. We saw that in the second chapter. Prajahati yada kaman. Sarvan manogatan kaman. So, that which arises in the mind is not a kama at first. And we were shown that step by step. First, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. It comes in the form of dhyanam. Oh, Om Namah Shivaya. No, not Om Namah Shivaya. I would love to have this. That is the dhyanam. And then it turns the dhyanam, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, then sangaha teshu upajayate. Then comes Sangha. Sangha means the fondness for that object arises. First the thought of the object, stage number 1, thought of the object, stage number 2, fanciful association or identification with having that object, stage number 3, the yearning for that object, at which point it becomes a full-fledged kama. 3 stages are there before it can be called kama. So here we are talking of that baby, almost sukshma stage where it is not even visible to most people. Most people who are not into Vedanta, they are not what is that called, introspective. They are not thinking about how to grow. They are just going as the winds of desire take them. Today I feel like doing this, I am here. Today, tomorrow it's too hot, I am out of here. And then this is how it is. Each person is driven by the fancies until one comes to Vedanta, where one learns the capacity, because this Vedanta is like a gym, where repeated Shravanam gives the muscle of being able to tell that some sankalpa is coming, better stay away from this one. I am not going to go down this road. Only with a lot of Shravanam this ability comes. So here Manu says, Manu had his problems, especially with women's issues and all that, but his Vedanta was pakka. He was a great Vedantin, absolutely great. And even though the feminists in India will say, down with Manusmriti, this is terrible and what is this and what not. But that is just a selective reading. You cannot throw out everything and everybody all the time. There's something wonderful. I mean, his Vedanta is just amazing. And so Adi Shankara, when he quotes those Vedanta portions. And so Manu rightly says, what does he say? Sankalpa mulo vai, kama. So kamaha sankalpa mulaha. So sankalpaha eva mulaha yasya saha. So that is sankalpa mulaha. So that sankalpa itself is the root of which kama. And then it translates into karma. Yajnaha. Yajnaha means what? Vaidika karma. Or you can also have Vaidika karma means prayer, prayerful actions such as, offering soma juice, offering ajya, ghee, offering rice balls, all these things. Why do we do that? Because there is a kama. And where did that kama come from? The nursery of kama is sankalpa. That is where all the nursery of kama is. And then so kama, yajna, all the yajnas, all the karma, the kratus come from what? Sankalpa sambhavaha. So they are born of sambhavaha, means they are nicely born of various fancies. Then he says, the Vyasa, talking in the Shanti Parva, says, Kamam janami te moolam, addressing, Kamam janami te moolam. So then I know. What do I know? I know your root. So I know your root. What is your root? Sankalpa is your root. I know that Sankalpa is your root. The root of all desires is Sankalpa. I know. And then what will I do? Tasmat natvam sankalpaishyami. Therefore, I will not dwell on you. What is the you? Fancy. I will not dwell on the fancy, and then you will not dwell in me. If I won't dwell in you, I will not allow you to dwell in me. In other words, this is not a compatible union. Let us break up. Let us break up before we get to know each other too well, because afterwards breakup is hard. The longer you are in a relationship, the breakup is harder and harder and harder, because too much investment, too many things. How to even divide up? Children may be there, and the possessions may be there, so many things may be there. So then you break up with the kama at the level of sankalpa, at the level of hello, hi to the fancy. Then you say, as soon as you say hi, what to say? Bye. Yeah, hi, bye. This is the beauty of living in an ashram. This is the beauty of the 3-month course, because it gives a little window of how to live very differently. You see, here so many people come, and then you immediately become friends with them, because they have all been studying. Who comes is not just some person from outside. They have all been studying Vedanta with various teachers, various camps come, and then the children, of course, are ultra cute and all these things, and so many things. You become friends with them immediately, and then what? The camp ends, and then they go away, and then what? Bye. Agate swagatam, nirgate bye bye. That's all it is. So when they come, you welcome, and when they go, you say bye bye. And then again we go back to the one of the most important verses in the 2nd chapter at the conclusion, which is what? Apuryamanam achala pratishtham. So be like the ocean. This is the whole idea here, the last portion of the 2nd chapter is highlighted in the 6th chapter completely. Each thing is just stretched out and highlighted beautifully. And so apuryamana is that which is already full in itself, and which is established in what? Itself. So therefore it is not established, or it is not ashrita in something else. It is ashrita in its own self, which is unshakable. It is ashrita in Brahman. As Brahman one is living, so it's an unshakable pratishtha. So that one is not living off of other people's opinions of them, other people's ideas and all these things. One is not living off of, and so therefore what? So therefore there is an unshakable presence, and that unshakable presence is what one is striving to get through the Shravanam, etc. Shravanam Manana Nididhyasanaihi. And so what one is trying to get is to establish, to be more self-established. In the common parlance, the word self-established means the one who has their own business. No, that is not what is self-established. Self-established means what? The one who is unshakable. The one who is unshakable, and one who is not dwelling on other people's validations and other people's approval of himself or herself. So achala pratishtham. And then all the rivers come into this ocean, and then the rivers are like the desires. So when they enter the ocean doesn't get discombobulated. Oh my God, where will I go? Where will I accommodate all this extra water? No. And if the rivers decide not to join, let's say they dry up because of climate change or what have you, then what happens? Is there a loss for the ocean? No. So the rivers are like sankalpa, and then all the sankalpas come and flood the ocean. No, the ocean cannot be flooded because it is limitless. It is established in that limitless pratishtha, which is the truth of itself. And all the rivers leave, let us say, it still is not bereft. And so like that here, so I am not going to dwell on you, and so that you will never dwell in me. If I stop, because in other words what? I am giving you the power to dwell in me. Oh Mr. Fancy, I'll never let you turn into Kama. Because if I dwell on you, then you become Kama. You will start dwelling in me as Kama. But at the Sankalpa level itself, I say, bye, finished, and and move on. And And this is actually a very healthy thing. Nididhyasana can be done like this also. And whatever thought, whatever fancy comes, you can sit by the Ganga in the evening and then put it there. Put the fancy in the Ganga. Oh, by that time 50 more came. Put them all there. No problem. Keep putting them there. That itself is a form of Nididhyasana. Sarvakama parityage cha sarvakarma sannyasah siddhah. Yeah, so sarvakama parityage karma parityagah. Very beautiful connection. So, what is sarva karma sannyasa? We have to understand properly. The sarva karma sannyasa means ritually taking sannyasa is called sarva karma sannyasa. Ritually taking sannyasa, the act of taking sannyasa is called sarva karma sannyasa, where in the form of a few rituals, the person gives up what? Gives up all the activities into the fire of knowledge, gives up all the activities and says, from now on, I am not a competitor in this universe. Tells Indra, the one who sent Menaka, please do not, no need for you to send Menaka, you enjoy her there. Don't have to send her to me. Why? Because I am not competing, I am not doing tapas for your seat. You don't have to fear anything from me. So from Brahmaji to the smallest little crawling, creeping, what is that called? Krimi, small little jantu, no one has to fear me because I am giving not only everything I have given up, I am also giving one gift to the world. And what is that gift? Abhaya Dana. Abhaya Dana means from now on, please regard me as a dropout. This is what it is. Dattam Abhayam, it is said. Dattam Abhayam, it is chanted. Standing in all directions with witnesses present. It has to be said. Because with no witnesses, I can say Dattam very slowly. Dattam Abhayam, and then come back and do whatever I want. No. So this is called Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Adi Shankara here comes and says, Sarva Karma Sannyasa is not siddha by itself, is not accomplished by itself, na siddho bhavati. Why? Because if there is Sarva Kama Sannyasa is not there, Sarva Karma Sannyasa is useless. Because karma and kama are connected or not? Of course they are connected. If I continue to do the karma, but I say I have no kama, then agarbatti factory, that's what I will open after sannyasa. Yes, people do that. Agarbatti factory, because ashram is there, ashram has to come about. And so all the brahmacharis are rolling agarbattis, sitting in, So like this, so the kama and karma are connected in very, very subtle ways, and the main linchpin of this connection, the hinging pin upon this kama and karma is what? Sankalpa. That sankalpa itself turns the kama into what? Karma. So therefore, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi is indeed Sarva Karma Sannyasi, according to Adi Shankara. Whether the person has ritually given up or not doesn't matter. Here the ashrama is not being talked about, so he takes the traditional meaning. Sarva Karma Sannyasi is who? Sarva Karma Sannyasaha, Sarva Kama Sannyasaha, etat. This alone is Sarva Kama Sannyasa. So otherwise, Sarva Karma Parityage hi, Sarva Kama Parityage hi, Sarva Karma Tyagaha Siddhaha Bhavati. How is it established? How is it accomplished? It is accomplished through Kama Sannyasa. Only when the Kama is given up, then only what can be given up? Karma can be given up. Kama has to be given up for Sarva Karma Sannyasa. And of course, he gives a bana, a very beautiful arrow of a quote that hits the target, 445 from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which has a Mahavakya, Ayamatma Brahma. Beautiful Mahavakya. in explaining the Mahavakya, there is a portion of this verse. We'll read that. What is that? Let us see. Sa yatha kamo bhavati tat kratur bhavati yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurute ityadi shrutibhyah. Yeah. So there it says that there is the saha, the person. Here the person is what? Atma. The Atma is the person here. The Atma in association with the body mind sense complex, in association with the Jagat, takes on many forms without really getting affected by them. So first what does it do? Saha yatha kamo bhavati. It becomes anurupa to that kama. The Atma pretends to also be kami. Atma also pretends to have a desire and goes along with it. It's not, Atma is not having desire. Who is having the desire? Jiva is having desire, and then it is because without Atma, nothing can be sustained. So the sustaining of Ragadvesha is also whose job? Atma's job. Atma has to be there. Behind every desire, what is there? Atma alone is there. And sa yatha kamo bhavati, in that context it is said. And then what happens? After then tat kratur bhavati. Kratu generally means, what is that called? Yajna. Yajna is called kratuhu. But here kratu doesn't mean yajna. Here kratu means the sankalpa. Kratu here doesn't mean yajna. What does it mean? Sankalpa. Why does it mean sankalpa? Because it is further said, read further and see. Tat kratur bhavati, yat kratur bhavati, tat karma kurute. If kratu itself was karma, then karma kurute would have been redundant. So then kratu here means sankalpa. So then first the various kinds of kama here means fancy. The kratu here means the desire to the desire to do certain things. So you can take the yatha kamo bhavati as fancy and then kratu as kama in this particular quotation, because the words are slightly different. So yatha kamo bhavati, then what happens? Tat kratur bhavati. And then tat kratur bhavati, yat kratur bhavati, tat karma kurute. So the kratu here is the resolved kama, is a fully manifest kama. Yatha kamo bhavati, the kama here is almost like a fancy, and that fancy comes into a decision making. Aha, this is what this kama looks like, and then appropriately tat karma kurute. Laukikam va, Vaidikam va, karma, whichever karma has to be done, religious karma or any other secular karma, the person does. And then further another ityadi shrutibhyah we saw. So this is the shruti he gives, and then he gives, because this is a very important verse, he gives quotations from shruti, smriti, and then nyaya. Nyaya means our own common sense reasoning, not some kind of vaisheshika, naiyayika, no, our own common sense nyaya, our own common sense understanding that how fancy turns into kama and then to karma. So then next one, yad yadhi kurute karma tat kamasya, sorry, tat kamasya cheshtitam. Yeah. So cheshta means movement. Cheshta also means mischief. In a few ways we can say mischief. So this is from again Manusmriti, yadyadhi kurute karma. So whatever the person acts, is what tat kamasya cheshtitam, is the mischief of kama. Kama is the mischief maker behind every karma. Behind every karma there is a kama. Pravartakatvat, because it impels, it has that impelling force. And therefore, yat yat karma kurute, tat tat, what? Kama cheshtitam. So it is, the kama has kind of strummed a few notes and gone, and then what? Then I'm hungry for the rest of the music. Where is the raga? Where is this? Where is the beat? Where is this going? I want all this. And so it leaves one hanging. So behind every kama is what? A fancy. Behind every karma is kama. This is the idea. And says, this we don't know, because most of the time we act mechanically and then we call it spontaneous. How come you came here? Just came. I'm a spontaneous person. Actually you're not. The person is not a spontaneous person. The person is just being led like some kind of a, what is that called? Weather, what is that called? Weather cock, weather vane. Yeah. Whichever the way wind blows, that rooster is facing this way, that way, this way, that way. The person is like that. And to call oneself spontaneous is at best innocent, really. It's not spontaneity. It is basically being led by the force of the winds of desire and sankalpa, which one is not in touch with. They are all latent, and suddenly one feels like going somewhere, suddenly one goes somewhere. All this is because one is being enslaved by these fancies. So this is manusmriti. Ityadi smritibhyascha. Then nyayaccha nahi sarva sankalpa sannyase kaschit spanditum api shaktah. Yeah, so nyayaccha meaning speaking common sense, from the common sense standpoint. So if there is no desire, will you do anything? Have you seen people do anything if they don't have desire in the world, in your own experiences? No. Like tomorrow, will you get up in the morning? No. Why? Because there is no desire. Simple, yeah. There is no desire and there is no threat hanging on the head either. You know, meditation is compulsory, you have to come. There is no such thing, because why? It's a holiday. And so therefore, there is no reason to wake up. You can wake up with a lunch bell. Okay? Aram se 12:30 you can wake up and just amble over to the dining hall. And so, like this, if there is no desire, there is no activity. Spanditum means not even like a little shake, like a vibration cannot, spandanam, even a tiny vibration cannot, of action cannot take place. What to talk of any kind of a planned action? No action can take place. We see this in the universe. We see this. We don't need big shrutis to come. Yatha kamo bhavati, tat kratur bhavati. We don't need all these things. We know from daily life itself, no kama, no karma. We know that. And so, nyayatcha, and then tasmat sarva sankalpa sannyasi iti vachanat sarvan kaman sarvani karmani cha tyajayati bhagavan. Yeah. So he says Bhagavan's idea is not vague. When he means sarvan kaman sarva sankalpa sannyasi, he means all. He doesn't mean you can keep one kama aside for a special day. No. All the kamas are gone. All the kamas are gone. That is what Bhagavan means. Tyajayati means makes one give up. Makes one give up how? In the intention here, in Bhagavan's intention, abandonment of all desires is what is indicated. So tasmat, therefore, after all this whole discussion, what do we come to understand? The word sarva sankalpa sannyasi iti vachanat. From this word, what do we see? From this talk, all the kamas have to be shaken off. Bhagavan's intention, Bhagavan's sankalpa here is to make you shake off all the kamas. All the kamas have to be shaken off. But why? Why are you so, these Vedanta people are so fanatic. There's no room for compromise. Little bit of samsara, little bit of moksha, why not? Because the next two verses are going to propel us into an entirely different universe. These verses are my favorite. Of course, I'll say that about every verse, so pardon me about that. But these verses especially speak because they speak to the current state of people's being, where there is this savior psychology and wanting to be saved. And Bhagavan here makes it clear, each and every person can be saved except the sannyasi. So therefore what? This life is a solitary life. You can't see, that's why don't leave Grahastha Ashrama. Adi Shankara makes it very clear. Remain a karma yogi. Bhagavan also makes it very clear in the Bhagavad Gita. Remain a karma yogi till as long as it needs to, because at least there is a support system. Husband is there, wife is there, children are there. Yes, all of them are good for nothing, but they are at least there. Yeah. At least they are there for some reason, for some time they are there. And in theory you can rely on them. And here, you can't rely on anyone to motivate you. Nobody is shaking you and saying, do nididhyasana. Nobody says, come on, do nididhyasana, do more shravanam, you need this, and read bhashya. Nobody is going to tell you. You are as free as a bird, ready to fall. Yeah, you can just do whatever you want, however you want. No motivation, no enthusiasm, no, somebody telling you, time to go for a walk. Nobody will tell you that. Time to do some yoga. Nobody will tell you that. Time to do this. Nobody will tell you that. And what should you do? Nobody will tell you that. What about Guru? You have outgrown the Guru also here. You are a nididhyasana person. You have finished Shravanam. So Guru may be there in the body. In case of Pujya Swamiji, Guru is not there. So Pujya Swamiji is also not there to tell you that. Nobody will be there to tell you that. What about Bhagavan? You are understanding, you are non-separate from that Bhagavan. So therefore what? Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah. Yeah, so this is if you read the translation, you will feel like going to sleep because it makes no sense. It will say lift the self up by the self, and the self is the self's best friend, and the self is the self's worst enemy. Om Tat Sat. So therefore it is misunderstood very badly. So we will come back after the weekend and then look at, it goes along with the next verse also, so we will look at both of them together. What shall we do tonight? You want an evening off? Yes. All right, have it. You have been working very hard, so you deserve an evening off, you deserve a long weekend. Okay, don't get lost, come back. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. One more note about satsang. Tomorrow